The people who fell in love in a game. Every evening, just after work, two people meet in the same place. Not a cafe, not a restaurant, not even the same country. They meet beneath an ancient oak tree inside an online game. Together they explore forgotten kingdoms, fight impossible monsters, build a virtual home, celebrate birthdays, comfort each other after difficult days. Sometimes they even argue. Over the years, they fall in love. For years, they have been the first person the other turns to. After a bad day, after good news, after heartbreak, after loss, there is only one unusual detail. They have never met in real life. Welcome to the strange route. Behind every virtual romance, every online wedding, and every relationship formed between digital avatars lies a deeper story. Not simply about games, but about trust, identity, and the surprising ways humans discover one another. Today, we uncover the strange route of the people who fell in love inside a game. The strange phenomenon. To many people, online games are simply entertainment, a place to escape reality for a few hours. But for millions of players, they have become something much more. Games such as World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, RuneScape, Guild Wars 2, EVE Online, and many others have quietly become places where lifelong friendships and even marriages begin. Some couples hold elaborate in-game wedding ceremonies before eventually marrying in real life. Others spend years adventuring together without ever meeting face to face. There are players who know every detail about how their partner behaves under pressure, yet have never shaken their hand. Some relationships survive the transition into the real world. Others remain entirely inside the game. And when those relationships end, the heartbreak often feels just as painful as any offline breakup. At first, this seems impossible. After all, how can love grow inside a world that doesn't even exist? Perhaps the dragons were imaginary. Perhaps the castles were imaginary. But if the world itself was fictional, why did the emotions become so real? Because before we ask whether people fell in love inside a game, we should first ask a stranger question. What exactly were they falling in love with? The visible route. The obvious explanation seems simple. People are lonely. Modern life is busy. Work consumes our days. Friends move away. Families become smaller. Many people spend more time talking through screens than sitting across a table. So perhaps people simply found romance in the only place where they still spent time together. That explanation certainly contains some truth. But it cannot explain everything. Millions of lonely people play games every day without falling in love. And many happily married people also build deep friendships inside games without ever falling in love. Loneliness may create an opportunity. It does not create love. Something much more unusual is happening. Think about how most relationships begin in everyday life. You notice someone's face, their smile, their clothes, their age, their job, their confidence. Within seconds, your brain begins making assumptions. Psychologists call these first impressions. Long before we truly know another person, appearance often shapes our expectations. Inside an online game, many of those signals disappear. Your teammate might be 20 years old, or 60, a successful lawyer, or a university student, living next door, or 12 time zones away. The beautiful elf standing beside you could be controlled by someone who looks nothing like the character on the screen. Yet, night after night, something else begins to replace those first impressions. You discover whether they keep their promises, whether they wait when you're left behind, whether they help weaker players instead of chasing rewards for themselves. whether they stay calm when everything begins to fall apart. Slowly, appearance fades into the background. Behavior moves to the front, and perhaps before people fall in love with who someone looks like, they first begin falling in love with who someone repeatedly chooses to be. That is where we begin to uncover the hidden root. The hidden root. Human beings often believe that love begins with attraction, a face, a voice, a smile. But psychologists have long known that lasting attachment is often built on something much deeper: shared experience. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans survived in small groups. We hunted together, crossed rivers together, protected one another from danger. When people repeatedly overcame challenges side by side, trust naturally grew. Trust became friendship. Sometimes, friendship became love. Online games accidentally recreate many of these ancient conditions. Every evening, two people log in. They complete difficult quests, rescue one another after mistakes, celebrate victories that nobody else understands, laugh over failures. Slowly, they begin creating a history together. Not through grand romantic gestures, but through hundreds of ordinary moments. Researchers studying relationships have found that trust is built less by dramatic events than by consistent reliability. Showing up, keeping promises, helping when it is inconvenient, being present. Inside a game, these qualities become surprisingly visible. When a difficult boss appears, does your teammate stay or disappear? When everyone else leaves, do they wait for you? When you fail repeatedly, do they become angry or encourage you to try again? Ironically, these virtual worlds often reveal character faster than everyday life. Because there are fewer distractions, money matters less, clothing matters less, social status matters less. Instead, people are judged by their actions, how they treat strangers, whether they share rewards fairly, whether they remain loyal when things become difficult. Perhaps this explains why some players later say something unexpected. I fell in love with the person before I even knew what they looked like. Not because appearance became unimportant, but because trust arrived first. And once trust becomes the foundation, everything else begins to grow upon it. Yet this raises an even deeper question. Why does shared struggle create such powerful human bonds, whether on a battlefield, inside a mountain expedition, or even within an imaginary world? The answer reaches much further back than online games. It reaches back to the very beginning of human society, the deep root. Long before humanity built computers, we built tribes. For most of our history, survival depended on a simple question: who would stand beside you when things became difficult? It wasn't the strongest individual who always survived. It was the group that trusted one another. Anthropologists believe that humans formed unusually strong social bonds through shared hardship. Hunters spent days tracking animals together. Soldiers defended villages together. Sailors crossed dangerous oceans together. Farmers survived harsh winters together. These experiences created something psychologists today call collective identity, the feeling that we are stronger than I. Love often emerged from these shared journeys, not because people planned it, but because trust grew naturally through repeated cooperation. Now think about an online game. A dragon attacks. Your health is almost gone. Someone who has never seen your face chooses to save you instead of themselves. The dragon isn't real, but the decision is. Night after night, you depend on one another. You celebrate victories that nobody outside the game understands. You remember the time everything almost failed, and someone stayed behind to help. These stories become your shared history. The battlefield may be digital. The loyalty is not. Perhaps this is why online games have produced so many lifelong friendships and marriages. They accidentally recreate one of humanity's oldest bonding mechanisms, not through physical danger, but through emotional investment and shared purpose. The castle exists only on a server. The quest disappears when the computer shuts down. Yet the memories remain, and perhaps that is the deepest irony. For thousands of years, humans formed relationships by walking the same road together. Today, that road sometimes exists inside an imaginary world. The landscape changed, the human instinct did not. But if games merely recreate an ancient way of building trust, why do some relationships formed there feel even more authentic than those formed in the physical world? That is where we finally uncover the strange root. The strange root. It would be easy to think this is a story about video games. Look closer. It is really a story about identity. Most of us spend our lives introducing ourselves with things that are easy to see: our face, our clothes, our career, our age, our education, our success. Before we speak a single word, people have already formed an opinion. Online games quietly remove much of that. Your avatar may be beautiful or terrifying, but everyone knows it is only a character. The real question slowly becomes something much harder to fake. Who are you when nobody knows who you are? Will you keep your promises? Will you share the treasure fairly? Will you wait for a slower teammate? Will you encourage someone who has failed 10 times? Will you return tomorrow just as you promised? Night after night, the answer reveals itself, not through appearances, but through choices. Perhaps this is why some people eventually fall in love inside games. Not because the virtual world replaces reality, but because it strips away many of the shortcuts we normally use to judge one another. Status fades, beauty fades, money fades. Only character remains. Of course, this does not mean relationships formed in games are always healthier. People can still lie, hide their identity, pretend to be someone they are not. Many online relationships end in disappointment when reality finally catches up. The game cannot eliminate deception. It simply changes what can be hidden. Perhaps the real strange root is this. For thousands of years, humanity believed love began when two people first saw one another. But virtual worlds quietly suggest another possibility. Perhaps love begins much earlier. Perhaps it begins the moment someone repeatedly chooses you, when they could have chosen anyone else. The castle was imaginary. The monsters were imaginary. The quests eventually disappeared. But kindness was real. Trust was real. Loyalty was real. Those things never existed inside the game. They existed inside the people playing it. Maybe that is why some of the strongest relationships in modern history have begun in places that never existed. Because human beings have never fallen in love with worlds. We fall in love with the people who keep walking beside us through them. The mysteries never disappeared. Only the stories changed. And that is the strange root. If this exploration into virtual worlds, identity, and the hidden foundations of trust made you see online relationships a little differently, subscribe to The Strange Root. Together, we'll continue uncovering the hidden roots beneath humanity's strangest behaviors, beliefs, and connections. Until next time, take care of one another and stay curious.